Hey guys, I'm Jackson Rollo, the host of the One and Done podcast. We're super excited to release season 3, and in season 3, we're going to be rolling out a new theme for the podcast. So over the first 2 years, our theme has been interviewing younger, successful people in any white-collar business, really just trying to teach our college students and anybody out there trying to figure out what they want to do at a young age, what businesses exist. With season 3, we're taking it a level deeper, and we're going to be interviewing people who are either co-founders or C-level executives at a very young age. So going from what they're doing in business to really showing that pinnacle of success, what it looks like to run a company, to found a company, the struggles of an entrepreneur, and what it looks like to grow a business and to lead people. We're super excited, and we want to welcome you to season 3 of the One and Done podcast. Hey everybody, welcome back to another episode of the One and Done podcast. We are on season 3, which is crazy to me. I remember whenever I began this a couple years ago, and it was always my goal and my dream to get to season 3. I really enjoyed the guests we've already been able to bring on. Today's episode number 8, and we are bringing on Jaylon Vickers. He is the owner of MVP Cleaning up in, one of my favorite places to visit up in the Utah area, in the Draper, Salt Lake City area. Jaylon, man, how is it going?
Good. How are you doing, man? I appreciate you having me on.
Doing good, man. I will tell you this. Look, I like a guy that hustles because I feel like there are very few of us young guys that like to hustle. But my man is literally in the car because he's working today, and he said he's jumping in on this. I also love the fact you got the 2 car seats in the back of the seat because as a guy with look, people can't ride with me at work, right? They're like, hey, let's go grab lunch. All right, we're taking your car because I got car seats all over mine. So I don't know how that works for you, but it's probably the same way.
It's same exact way, man. Those car seats stay in the back. So luckily, I mean,
Yep.
I'm in my wife's car today, but yeah, it's nice. Yeah, it's crazy, man. You know how that goes.
I love it. And I do love the hustle, man. So me and you connected on LinkedIn. We've talked a little bit. I love the athletic background you have. I know you played football at BYU, but if you wouldn't mind, man, tell the audience a little bit about you and MVP Cleaning and kind of where you're at today.
Yeah. So I know you mentioned I live in Utah. I'm originally from Florida. I moved out to Utah about 8 years ago. Went to BYU, played football at BYU. A lot of people think I graduated college. I actually did not graduate. I only did 2 years of school. After school, kind of got into sales, fell in love with it, kind of fit my personality and kind of the thing that I wanted to do long term. And then I just kind of got into a situation where I felt like I was doing a lot for other people, and I just kind of had that personality of just working hard. So I didn't really feel the value of working for other people, and that's when I got the idea to start my own business. And it just so happened to be cleaning for whatever reason. I don't know why. But it ended up being probably one of the biggest blessings for my family when getting a cleaning business going. So, um, yeah.
And you got to tell the audience, man. You told me the story a while ago. Tell the audience the story of how you decided to like start MVP Cleaning, because I think it's like very like modern entrepreneur, right? Like you saw something and then you just like I can do that.
Yeah.
Tell the audience that story. It's awesome.
Yeah. I saw, dang TikTok, man. I saw a TikTok on this lady out in Florida. She has a remote cleaning business, and she was just talking about how she basically hired cleaners to go out and go do the job. She would just sell the jobs, manage everything, do payroll. And so I saw it and I was like, wow, I'm gonna give this a try and see, just kind of see where it goes. And so we did our first month. Our first month, I think we did like 10 grand of revenue. And I was like, man, this is kind of nice. Like I didn't have to do as much as my tech sales job. Um, and then yeah, just kind of kept growing it from there. And now we're here 2 years later and on the up and up now.
I love it. And you've grown it quite quickly in 2 years. So from just you in the company to now, I think you said you had 14 people, some full time, some part time. Like,
Yep.
talk to me about that journey. What was that like? Building your business and growing it. Like, what are some of the lessons that you've kind of learned along the way?
Yeah, I always tell people, I'm like, don't get into business if you're scared to lose money and you're scared to fail, because what people don't know, they see all the success that you get, they see the LinkedIn posts, but really what they don't see is the endless nights of, up or early mornings up at 6, going to bed at 12 at night, and repeating that every single day. Getting calls from clients that are mad about such and such, and just losing money on deals. There's just so much that goes into it that a lot of people don't see, that you mentally have to get through every day. But what I've learned is, like, that just has to be your reality now. And you just got to be comfortable being uncomfortable. You got to be comfortable being uncomfortable. And I just made that my
I love
reality.
that.
I've learned to problem solve. I've learned to, deal with trials because I know they're coming. So you might as well be prepared. So,
You know what? You're making me smile because some of the things that we do, right? The One and Done podcast, our audience is college students who are just they're trying to figure it out, right? Like they're like me and you were when we were in school, and they're like, what do I want to do? And you've said some of the key things we always talk about: problem solving, being comfortable, being uncomfortable, right? Like you have to do that. Talk to me about that, like that being comfortable when you're in an uncomfortable situation. At what moment did you just think, you know what, that has to be my reality now? Because for me, that's something that probably in the last 6 months that I've kind of developed, and I love it now.
yeah.
Whenever I feel like an uncomfortable situation coming on, I'm like, this is actually about to be good, because
Yeah.
I heard a quote the other day. It was, if you can become comfortable in chaos, then you can be a difference maker, right? And so it's
Yeah.
like, you know what? Like this is when I make my money. When everybody
Yeah.
else is a little bit uncomfortable and it's chaotic, and I'm willing to just take a breath and get it figured out. Like, what was that moment for you?
Yeah. No, I love that too. Like, I always looked at business owners and I'm like, they make all the money. They do, like, why are they making all the money? I feel like I'm working harder than them. But what you don't see is those times before that time where they had to be in those situations and kind of get out of it. But that moment for me was when me and my wife, we kind of got into some financial trouble. This is like 6 months into the business, I think. And we only had like $100 in our bank account, and we were sitting there. We actually just bought a house a couple months, well, like I say like 8 months prior to that. And we were sitting there and we're like, dang, we might just have to like sell our house and like not sell it, but rent it out. We have to move out and move back in with my in-laws. Um,
Yep.
and that took a lot. I was like, it was our first house. We're excited. We wanted to stay there for 3 years, and we had to end up moving out into my in-laws house with $100 in our bank account. And at that time, I was like, I can either go back and do my tech sales job, or I can just figure this out and continue to go with the business. And so next day, me and my wife, she actually came out with me. I went out to knock doors for my cleaning business, sold an account there. And then from there, man, it's like, yeah, the rest is history, to be quite honest, man. But that was the time I
Wow.
really had to dig deep and like really figure it out and not, go back to what was comfortable for me.
Yeah, I think we're faced with those situations a lot in life. The situations where it's you can either settle to be comfortable, or you can figure out a way to get through. And I think honestly, that's what makes entrepreneurs in America such a great country. Is we have so many small businesses. I think I saw something yesterday: 33 million small businesses in the United States, or like family-owned
Really?
businesses. And yeah, it's 64% of the jobs created since 1995 come from small business, like over half.
Wow.
And you think about that in relation to like what the story you just told. The no one sees the owners when they're going through the struggles. They only see 5 years later, whenever they run in a company with 14 people and is growing and is doing well. They don't see the effort and blood, sweat, and tears they put in on the front side.
Exactly.
What did football teach you that you use in business every day now?
Yeah. Football, man, it's like that sport teaches you so much. Like for me, it taught me how to be comfortable in uncomfortable situations. Because you're constantly just being uncomfortable. Um, Taught me how to be a part of a team, to know how to work with certain people. Um, and then it also just taught me, I call it, grit. Like, you just kind of have to dig deep every single day, because every day is a new day, especially on the college level. You got so many good athletes around you that are really good, really talented. And so you really got to dig deep and really figure out your why. And I feel like football really, really taught me that. That's really helped me with my business now.
Yeah, I can see that. I was a basketball guy. I didn't like getting hit. Like, so, you're a defensive back. I'm like, man, I didn't like even playing offense because I would get
Yeah.
it, much less playing defense, you know.
Facts.
Basketball is a little more my speed. Also being, tall, lanky, and skinny, it doesn't exactly, fit well with a physical sport like football. But
Yeah.
talk to me about like, what are some of the best mentors and coaches you've ever had in your life, and what are lessons that they've taught you that you still kind of carry with you today?
Yeah. One of my greatest mentors is I'm part of the Faith Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. I served a mission out in New York City, and my mentor now was my mission president out on my mission. And his background, he sold his company for like $500 million. He started companies before, so he's really has that entrepreneur mindset. But the biggest thing I took away from him is kind of what we're just touching base on, was just being comfortable with being uncomfortable. Being uncomfortable with being, gosh, I cannot say that saying right, but being comfortable with being uncomfortable. Because there's so many times
Yeah.
that he told me about a time where he lost this huge client, and he really had to dig deep and go out and find other people, but it ended up being a lot better for him in the long run. And so the biggest lesson that he's taught me was, be okay with being, discomfort, or be okay with being, not in the best situations, because that's what really, makes you a better person, a better man.
Yeah, absolutely. I think what it's about, right, is making yourself different. When we do stuff that everyone is willing to do, then you're just average.
Yeah.
And you have to find those moments of doing things that other people are unwilling to do, because that's what separates you. And so, if you're a college student listening to this, or a high school student, you're thinking, how do I become successful, right? Like, how do I follow after all these people that have told these stories? You have to find a way to make yourself different. And I think that's hard because society, specifically like where you and I grew up, right? We're like the same age. It teaches you to be comfortable, like to do everything within the norms and within the societal, like acceptable things that like everyone applauds as like you're normal. But the reality is, if you are normal when it comes to work ethic, if you're normal when it comes to problem solving, you're not going to be an entrepreneur for sure. You're definitely not going to be successful, not to the top level standards. So it's like being an athlete, right? Like nobody wants to be, oh yeah, that's a good team player, right? He's a good average team player, and he's the glue guy. Like I was the glue guy, right? It was awesome. You know what I didn't get? A lot of college looks. Why? Because I was scoring 10 points a game and having 7 rebounds instead of 40 points a game, right?
Yeah.
I teach that to my sisters now because they play basketball, and I tell them like, look, no one wants to look at the guy who can pass well, right? They want to look at a good team player. Don't get me wrong, but everybody wants somebody that can do something that not everyone can do. Those are the skills that are resourceful. And in business, I think that same thing applies.
I agree. It's especially in this now, in today's day and age, like people want to follow the trend. And I always tell myself, I talk about it with my wife all the time. I'm like, if we follow the trend, we're going to be like everybody else. And so like, why do we want to be, like everybody else in a way? So,
yep. So tell me this, man. You mentioned your wife a couple of times. I know my wife is she is probably the person that keeps me sane going home most days and helping me through problems that most other people are just unwilling to listen to. How big of an impact has she had on you and on MVP and kind of the business?
Yeah, dude, she is honestly the reason MVP has had the success that it's had. Like kind of how you touched on, my wife is the reason I haven't gone crazy yet in my business. Dude, she just loves unconditionally. She's always there to support, even when like it may be too much at times. And she's there to like help me, because there's sometimes when you're an entrepreneur, something happens, and in your mind it just seems a lot bigger than what it actually is. And so having someone to go to actually like evaluate the situation from a different perspective, that's coming out of love and us, out of a place that's a caring place, it's huge, man. And she's helped me not make some decisions or some mistakes that could have been a lot worse. So, dude, I love my wife, man. I don't know what I'll do without her, for sure.
Yeah, and man, you know what? That might be the best part of this podcast for you, because you're going to get so many brownie points when she listens to this thing, right? So
Hey, man, I'm locked
you're set
in,
up
man.
good now, man.
I'm locked in for another month.
There you go. Yeah, yeah. We need those from time to time. I was telling Jaylon earlier. My son did not sleep last night, and so my wife, like, I'm like, yeah, I got to get some flowers or something on the way home. Like
Yep. Yep.
she's looking like she could use a reset. So,
Yep. Yep.
talk to me about this. One of the things you do well, right, is I feel like marketing your business, and I know
Yeah.
that just from a very far distance away. You and I have never had a chance to meet yet, but I know next time I'm in Salt Lake, I'm gonna hit you up, and we're gonna talk business and philosophy. I think we got a lot in common.
For sure.
But marketing is something I've seen you've done well, right? I see you on LinkedIn and stuff, and I loved a lot of that too, right? That's kind of like in my wheelhouse right now. What I'm spending time and effort learning about. What is it about your strategy there that you feel like separates you from everyone else?
Yeah. I feel like I keep it real. I think that's huge, and being very transparent about what is happening in my business. I feel like a lot of people, again, it's following that trend. A lot of people don't like to be as transparent about their business because maybe may be embarrassed, or maybe they want to hide certain information, which I totally understand. But I feel like a lot of people, I feel like when you're as transparent about your business, it opens the door to other business owners, to relate to you, to, understand where you're also coming from because you've been in that situation as well. And I think that's how you and I connected, is maybe a post that I did that you really liked, that maybe you resonated with. And I feel like that's huge, especially with what I do. I feel like if someone can see something online that they resonate with, the more they're either A, going to want to work with you, or B, they're going to want to connect with you. And that's the biggest thing, man, is having a good network of people, that are in the same, frame of mind as you. And that's how you grow. So,
Yeah, I totally agree with that. I feel like most of my stuff that I do on LinkedIn nowadays is revolving around leadership. And I think that's because that's the seat that I'm in, right? Like, if I heard a quote the other day, I loved it. It was during a speech, and he was talking about, you've heard of like the 300 Spartans before, right? Like the 300 guys that fought against this whole army for forever, and like,
yeah.
did all this stuff. Well, the last one, the story goes that the last guy, they captured him and they brought him back to the king of, I can't remember who they were fighting. Maybe it was like King Artaxerxes or something like that. And they were basically like, hey, why did the 300 of you fight as hard as you did? And talking about his own king, the guy who had just died, he said, because the king is the first one to lift the heavy burden and the last one to lay it down.
Yeah.
And man, that resonated with me. I love that, right? It's like, if you want your team to commit to you, you as a leader have to be the first one willing to get in the office in the morning and put in the work, and the last one to leave. And I don't necessarily even mean when you leave the office. I'm talking about just the attitude you take towards, I'm willing to do what it takes to make this business better and to make the people in my business better. And I think that whenever I'm posting, I love that genuine thing you talked about, because to me, I want to keep myself genuine as well, but I want it to kind of track along with me in my journey, because I'm 27, right? Like, we're both in our 20s. We don't know everything when it comes to business yet. We're still learning. I think it's a good thing to sometimes say, hey, we're still learning. We don't know what's going on. But being willing to say along the way, here's what I'm learning, and here's how this is making me a better leader for the people I work with.
Exactly. I agree. And that's huge. I feel like leading by example is a huge part. More, I honestly feel like it's better than outwardly saying things about or telling people what to do. But if you can lead by example, like showing up early, or being the last, what they say, like being the last person to leave the gym,
Yep.
that goes a long way, and people see that on your team, and people see that from outside looking in, and I feel like it carries a lot more weight for sure.
Jaylon, man, kind of as we hit this last little section, one thing that I love asking people about is kind of how they've structured their businesses and how they've built them to scale. I think it's most entrepreneurs' worst nightmare is trying to figure out how to grow a business. And I say that because they are so good at what it took to start the business and make it successful in the first place, that it's a little bit difficult to then say, okay, I can train other people to do what I do. Most people that I know are entrepreneurs, like, they're really good at doing what they do, not as good at teaching other people.
Exactly.
You obviously are, right? You've taken it from just you in the business. You now have 14 other people with you. Let's start with kind of, how did you structure that, and how did you begin removing yourself from pieces of the business and delegating to where you had that ability to grow?
Yeah. So how I kind of mentioned before, I had to start when I first started. I really had to go to each and every house to clean. And maybe I had a few people that I hired to go out and clean as well, but for the most part, I was cleaning about every day. Then I got down to like maybe twice a week. Then it got down to like once a week, and now it's down to I don't really have to clean much at all. Um, but the biggest thing for me, what I had to do, I had to find someone that was cleaning, that was better at cleaning than I was, that I could trust. And so once I found that person, I actually built a team around her. So that way she can train people, and that way she can go out with people to, jobs. If they need help with something, she was there to help. And so once I found that person, that was huge for me. And that way I can get out of the field. And then from there, I could actually build people around her, and then also even build people off her team, without the stress of me having to go clean on my own. Um, so that was huge. And then once I got that down, I actually found someone to go out and sell with me as well, to like call people, cold call people, knock on doors. And then of course you pay them a commission for that. And so now I'm trying to, branch off to other states, and open up a branch elsewhere. And so I'll plan on structuring the business the same exact way, that I did that as well.
I love it. Yeah, that makes a ton of sense. Tell me this: whenever you're thinking about like delegation, what was the hardest thing for you in that whole process, to get the process started? I feel like once you start it, it's a little bit easier. Okay, hey, I've removed those 3 responsibilities, but the first one is really difficult to get removed. How did you start that?
Yeah, it's hard, man, because like the biggest thing in my industry is like just finding really, really good people to to be really good at cleaning. Because you can sell as many accounts as you want, but if you go to those accounts and you do a terrible job, they will seriously never call you back ever again. And they'll cancel really quick,
Yep.
especially in a competitive market like Utah. And so what I did trial cleanings with certain people to see, who tested out good, who would potentially be a good fit. And then I had a couple people sent them out on their own. And then honestly, it was just about getting feedback from clients on what the cleaners were doing. And so the person that I chose, every client loved her. They wanted her. She always got the biggest tips. But to start, it was for sure a challenge, for sure, to find that right person. You had to go through a lot of people.
Yeah. Yeah, and when you think about college students who are hearing this, I think the lessons that they should be taking out of this is you have to be willing to take a risk, right? Go out on your own. You have to be willing to believe in yourself and buy in. And then you have to find ways to, if you're going to grow a business, you have to find ways to get other people in, to replace you. I think one of the people I talked to the most mentioned that basically what they do is they get into a spot in their business and they figure out exactly how they want it done. They process it out. They document it all. Then they hire someone to train them to do exactly that, so they can then move to another seat in their business and do the exact same thing.
Yep.
And I love that. I mean, I do that a little bit within our business as the president of the company. I jump into IT from time to time, and then I jump into like commercialized quoting, and then I'll jump into like marketing, and I jump into these different spots to figure out where we're lacking and where I can use my high motor, like just crazy amount of energy to say, how am I going to get this problem solved, and go out and find the solutions I'm looking for, put them in place, and then build a team around that to take that over and really own that project.
Yep.
So, kudos to you for getting that done, because that's definitely going to bear fruit for you long term. So as we end today, tell me this: what is a piece of advice you would offer to a college student listening to this as they think about, what does my career and my future look like?
Yeah. I think the biggest thing is to not be, well, I think the biggest, how I would phrase this is, don't think you're too young to have success early on in life. And because of your young age, people are going to view you as the young generation. You don't know what you're talking about. You don't know what you're doing. But the biggest thing that, at least for me, the upside that I had is that I had a work ethic, and that I had a lot of heart. Granted, I had 2 kids and I have a wife, and so I have a family I had a family to take care of early on. I got married at 20. Um, but I think the biggest thing is that if you have a work ethic and you have a heart, you can literally do anything in this world. Because if you have those 2 things, you're already better than, I would say, 80% of the world. Because a lot of people in the world don't want to work hard now, and they don't want to go out and get, they honestly just don't want to go out and work hard. And so that's my biggest piece of advice. I know it sounds cliche and it sounds very simple, but you'll be surprised by how many people
It
that
is.
don't want to work hard in this world. So,
Yeah, I mean, it is simple, right? Like you said, like it's simple. You work hard and you're already better than 80% of the people. I would 100% agree with that. I also think one of the things you mentioned there that most people take for granted is going out and finding a problem to solve and then working really hard to figure out the solution to it. I tell people all the time, problems are super easy to identify. Anybody can identify a problem. Not everybody can solve the problem.
Exactly.
We have a rule here at our company that is one of our core values, and it's built around that. Like, don't be the problem, fix the problem, right?
Exactly.
And I think that the world, college students in particular, you're trying to separate yourself. Don't cause another problem, or honestly, don't be average. Fix problems, and you'll become extraordinary. And be willing to commit to something. And man, it's been a pleasure speaking with you today. I can't wait to see where MVP goes. And love the hustle and the grind you have, man, the family values you have. I appreciate that. And good luck to you and MVP kind of along the way.
I appreciate you, man. Thanks for having me on, brother.
Yes, sir.